on the horror corner, the horror stream, if you will. And thank you for joining me in the horror corner. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Erschen. And we're going to open up the chat tonight. Never know who might show up in the horror corner tonight. And we're going to talk all things horror in the horror corner. We are live here on the horror corner, the horror stream. This is the second horror stream. And thank you so much, guys, for joining me tonight. And for those of you who joined me last time, we're going to have such a blast talking about all things horror and horror related. Maybe talk a little bit of sci-fi. You never know who might show up. I do have a few topics for you guys tonight. And the first one comes from my brother, Paul Erschen. And he asks, do you think the new Halloween film will be the last? And if so, why? Why do you guys think it might be the last one? I myself, I'm not too sure if it will be or not. It is a possibility. Here we are live at the horror corner. Thank you for joining me, guys. We are live on the horror stream tonight. I'm not sure if I'm having technical difficulties or what, but I believe we're live at the horror corner. So thank you for joining me, guys, today. Okay, we got Adam Turner in the house. I think we're good now. So Adam, can you see me now? I just want to make sure that everything's working correctly. Thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the horror corner. And we are here at the second live horror stream, part 2, the sequel, Shawnee's Revenge. So we're gonna have a few topics I thought we'd discuss, and as I said, this one is from my brother Paul Erschen. So Paul, if you're watching, this one is for you. And yes, Adam, I am feeling better, dude. Where's the wife? She is home. You never know. She could show up. We'll see, you know. All right, so the first topic of the evening, we're going to be talking about this guy right here, Michael Myers, the boogeyman, the shape, if you will. And so we're going to pose the first topic of the evening. And that is, do you think the new Halloween film coming out in October of this year is going to be the final Halloween? And if so, why? Adam Turner says, shout out to Paul. Thank you, man. That's going out to you, brother Paul. If you're in the house. All right, so I was thinking that maybe it could be the final one. Maybe it couldn't. Maybe that could actually be a sequel, because you do have Judy Greer and Andy Matichak in the cast as well. So they could actually make a sequel using Judy Greer and Andy Matichak, and they'd be carrying on the legacy of Laurie Strode and the Strode family. That is, of course, if Michael doesn't get knocked off in this one, of course. You never know. If he does get knocked off in this one, yeah, there ain't gonna be no sequel. That'll be it for Halloween, probably forever. So what's up, Adam? Do you hear me? Is everything running okay? Just want to make sure everything's running okay here. So yeah, it came to me last night. Maybe there will be a second new Halloween, or a third, I guess it would be, because the original is 1978, and this, I guess, is going to be part two. And the new Halloween too, I guess. And then the third one, like I said, you could bring back David Gordon Green, you could bring back Judy Greer, you can bring back Andy Matichak to carry on the Strode legacy, and Michael will have a whole new family. It'll be a whole new chapter in the Halloween legacy. And okay, Adams says, I think it will do very well. And then they will make another story. And then they will make another story within the next 3 years. This will be the last with Jamie. Yo, yeah, I definitely agree with that, Adam. This will be the last one, Jamie. Halloween is a big franchise and always makes bank. Adam Turner says, yeah, I can hear you. Can you see me, though, Adam? So yeah, you never know who could show up tonight in the horror chat. For the horror corner, I did invite several people. You never know who's going to show up. So I just want to say, of course, Happy Easter, guys, on this fine Easter Sunday. Um, I have to say, I wasn't quite thinking about the fact that it was going to be Easter Sunday. Maybe I should have thought about that first. Adam says, I can see you do great. Okay, so we're in business. I am wearing my Halloween 2 shirt there to commemorate the occasion tonight. Oh, I also wanted to show you guys this awesome action figure I got, and that is Freddy Krueger. Got this bad boy at Toys R Us last week. You've got the body, and I've got the brains. Ha 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 ha. Oh, watch out. All right, so yeah, so on the new Halloween film, there was also some news we got. We got an interview with James Jude Courtney that is playing. He's going to be playing the new Michael Myers in this film coming out this October. And a lot was made about how Nick Castle is going to be Michael Myers in the new Halloween film. And it turns out that he's actually only just doing a cameo appearance. So I think a lot of Halloween fans might be a little let down by that. We thought he was going to be the main Michael Myers, and that James Jude Courtney was just going to do the stunt work on the film. But apparently, he is the new Michael Myers. He's going to be in every scene featuring Michael Myers, and Nick Castle just going to do a couple little scenes. And James Jude Courtney said in his interview with Halloween Daily News that he did get to do a couple scenes with Nick Castle. Obviously, they weren't both on screen at the same time because they're both playing Michael Myers. That would be ridiculous. And yeah, so I was kind of bummed about that. I have to admit, I wanted Nick Castle to be the main Michael Myers because that's the original gangster, the original madman, the original boogeyman that played Michael Myers, and brought such a great mystique about him to that film from 1970. But he is 70 years old now, and it's probably would be tough for him, I would imagine. But at any rate, I did enjoy the interview with James Jude Courtney, and he does seem like he is really hyped about the role of Michael Myers, and he is really looking forward to it. He is into the character very much so, and he's a longtime fan of the series. He went to the theater to watch the original Halloween from 1978, and he watched each successive entry in the franchise. So that's really cool. That's a really cool thing. And I just love that he's so into invested in the role. So I am kind of looking forward to see what he brings and what his stamp is going to be on the character. Because in each film, each actor brought their own personal stamp to the character, their own unique portrayal. Yeah, they did all use certain aspects of what Nick Castle brought to the character, such as the famous head tilt and uh, checking out his handiwork. Certain nuances that Nick Castle brought to the role. Definitely, you definitely see that in each Halloween film. They try to bring their own unique flavor, their own unique take on the character. You can always tell when it's like George Wilbur or Brad Lorry in Resurrection, or Dick Warlock in Halloween 2 certainly brought his own stamp. Dick Warlock is actually my personal favorite Michael Myers. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with that. Some people might. I actually absolutely love Dick Warlock's performance in Halloween 2. He's my personal favorite. I just felt like Dick Warlock took what Nick Castle brought in the original, kind of took it to a whole new level, whole new level of monstrosity. Like he was a real monster in that film. It seemed like he had an otherworldly presence, to him. Okay, Adam Turner says badass T-shirt. Thanks, man. Freddy is awesome. What do you think about the new Predator coming out? I heard the new Michael will be very physical. Yeah, that's what James Jude Courtney says. And James Jude Courtney is about 6'3" and 215 pounds or so. And he's a lot bigger than Nick Castle. And he's not quite as old. He's still very physical. And I heard that, yeah, this is going to be a very, very physical role for Michael Myers this time around. So Adam Turner says the new Michael will be very physical. I thought Nick Castle would be in all the scenes. Yeah, so did I. So did a lot of people. I think. I think a lot of Halloween fans are probably going to be disappointed by that. I'm sure it will be a solid movie. I don't want it to be a cheesy cash grab in the same vein as The Force Awakens. Oh, didn't like The Force Awakens, huh? Adam Turner says, you know what I mean? Nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. Yeah, I agree. You don't want it to be just some nostalgia fest, Want it to actually be a good movie on its own. We don't want to just play off on the whole nostalgia factor, the fact that it's got Jamie Lee back, and it needs to be more than just nostalgia. We're in 2018 now. You need to have a new solid story for the modern era, and isn't that kind of the whole point of doing the film, is to make bring Halloween to a new generation of fans, and to continue the Halloween legacy. And for that, you need to have a good film. Can't just live off of past glories, like some of these old broken down wrestlers you see there, like wrestling in high school gyms, kind of living off their past glories. You don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen for Halloween. That's my favorite series ever. Adam Turner says 6'3" is too tall for Michael. Well, you might be right. It's definitely bigger. That's another thing, is how are they going to manage that if he's a lot bigger than the original Michael was in 1978, and this film is supposed to continue from Halloween 1978. So how are they going to go from a guy that's a lot bigger, because they are supposed to tweak the ending of Halloween 1978, where after Michael gets shot and falls off the balcony, that he gets taken into custody. The cops find him and capture him and take him into custody, and I believe he gets sent back to Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Hello, Adam. Oh, we got Christy in the house again. You've been waiting for that. Hello, Christy. Love you. Thanks for joining us here at the Horror Corner in the second horror stream. So, guys, if you're just tuning in, we're on the live horror stream. This is the second one. This is the sequel, Shawnee's Revenge. Adam Turner says, yeah, bro. I don't want it to be overshadowed by homages to the others. It will be amazing to see the fucker again, though. Adam Turner says, hey, Christy, you okay? Yes, hope you are well. So yeah, we did have a very nice Easter today. We did, me and Christy did some yard work actually because it was so beautiful out, and yeah, clean up the yard a bit. And we had a wonderful ham dinner with carrots and potatoes and green beans. It was fantastic. Boy, I'm stuffed. And I have to say, I'm feeling a lot better this week because last time I had a cold when I did the horror stream. Last time it was tough getting through that one. But I'm feeling a lot better this time. So I hope I'm a little more alert tonight. Christy says, yes, hope you are well. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I do think Michael will be apprehended at the start. Yeah, that's what I hear. Um, yeah. So, Adam, what do you think about them possibly making a sequel with Judy Greer and Andy Matichak continuing the Strode legacy? Do you think that could work? Maybe if you brought David Gordon Green back. Of course, it matters how well this film does. Of course, I'm sure it will do well. But if a sequel does happen, do you think that would work if they brought back David Gordon Green and Danny McBride writing the film, James Jude Courtney as Michael Myers, and make it a real proper sequel? I think it could work. At first, I did think, yeah, this is probably definitely going to be the last one because you got John Carpenter coming back. He's not going to be around for another one. Jamie Lee Curtis isn't going to do another one. But you got Judy Greer, who's a talented actress, and she's been in a lot of good movies, a lot of pretty big roles. Adam Turner says, yeah, I'm good, thanks. Just like the first, it will be very clever, though. I would be happy for a sequel, bro. Dude, I'd be happy to Michael Myers in a Teen Beach movie. What, Halloween Beach Blanket Bingo or something? What the hell are you talking about? As long as I just got to see him. It's an interesting thought, Adam. Uh, okay, so I got another topic for you guys to discuss. Who was your favorite Michael Myers performance in the entire franchise? So, who do you think gave the best performance in the franchise history? That includes like the Rob Zombie ones and whatever, Resurrection, Halloween 2, obviously not part 3, Season of the Witch, but Halloween, The Return of Michael Myers, The Revenge of Michael Myers, The Curse of Michael Myers, whatever. Who do you think played Michael Myers the best? Christy says Michael in a bathing suit. Michael in a thong. All right, guys, you guys are getting way out of line here. Come on. uh, yeah, my personal favorite, as I said earlier, is Dick Warlock. I felt he was the scariest Michael Myers. He was really creepy when you see him walking down those hospital halls and like that video camera. Christy says Tony Moran because we met him and he was such a sweetheart. Yeah, that's right. We did meet Tony Moran. As you know, Tony Moran did that famous scene where Michael gets unmasked by Jamie Lee. And you got to see his face for a minute there, just before he gets shot by Dr. Loomis 6 times. I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. This man, he's not human. Nick Castle for me, yeah, he certainly set the standard. He set the blueprint, I think, for every Michael Myers actor to follow. Definitely set the standard. Tyler Mean did a good job. Yes, he did do a good job. I gotta admit, he's one of the bright spots of the Rob Zombie films 1 and 2. I gotta agree with that. I mean, the fact that he was freaking like a giant is it definitely made him intimidating. That's for sure. He's definitely a very brutal Michael Myers. I'd say Tyler Mane had to be the most vicious, brutal Michael Myers in the history of the franchise. Oh, that's cool. He was the face of the shape. LOL. Yeah, that's right. Tony Moran is really the only scene where you see Michael Myers' face in the franchise. Yeah, in part 5, you see him a little bit in the shadow, though. You never really get a good look at him. But the only time you ever got a good look at him was the original Halloween from 1978. I'm interested in what Jamie's role will be, Adam says. Like, how is she going to be with her kids? Yeah, I'm interested in that too. Like a protector or a batshit crazy lady. Could happen. We saw that one picture where she had a shotgun in her arms. She looked like she's badass. She's ready to go. James Jude Courtney said that in his interview too, that Jamie Lee's like a real badass, that she really got into the role and she really got into the physical aspects of the Laurie Strode character, taking on Michael Myers all on her own, and that she did a lot of her own stunts, which was really interesting. I was like, wow, she's really into it, huh? And she's not a spring chicken. She's probably in her 60s, I think. That's really cool to hear that Jamie gets real physical and really into the role. Yeah, I am curious to see what Judy Greer and Annie Matchek will bring to their roles as the daughter and the granddaughter of Laurie Strode. We know, I believe Annie Matchek is in high school at the time, so is she going to be like basically taking on like the Laurie Strode as we met her in the first Halloween? Is she going to be the teen hanging out with her friends, on Friday night, or at Halloween time having a Halloween party or something, or having a or baby? Is she going to be a babysitter like Laurie Strode was? What's happening with the score, Sean? I have no idea. Is John Carpenter actually going to do the score? I mean, we've heard it a bunch of times, but he's never actually confirmed it, has he? I would love to see that, of course. I definitely want John Carpenter to come back and do the score. I kind of question a little bit the John Carpenter's, what has he actually done for this movie? I kind of think he's in it for the money in a way, because I know he showed up on set like once and just hung out with Jamie Lee Curtis for a little while and just shook people's hands and gave his advice for a little bit. And that was it. Hand me the money, give me the cash, write me the check. That kind of seems to be where he's at right now. Maybe she will offer Michael some Activia and he will be all better. Nice one, Christy. Nice. Adam Turner says Activia saved the Strode generation. That's funny. Michael had no bowel movement, and that's why he's so mad. This is true, Christy. It's all about the blockage. Never thought about it that way, Christy. I gotta say, never thought about it that way. Activia. Never thought about it that way. All right, guys. I had another question. Next up, are you excited for Avengers: Affinity War? Infinity War, I should say. You guys like superhero films? I'm so excited for this movie. It's been a build up of like 17 movies now. It all started back in 2008 with the first Iron Man film starring Robert Downey Jr. That was his big comeback to film, and he did such an awesome job as Tony Stark, definitely. But seeing the trailer for Infinity War, like the past two trailers, I'm like freaking blown away. My mind is blown. You got every single character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe together in one film. You got oh wow, Philip Erschen. Wow, this is a nice surprise. I didn't expect you here. Thank you for joining me, Philip Erschen, in the horror corner. We are live on the horror stream this fine Easter Sunday. You're a star now, Shawnee boy. Philip says, "Thanks, man. So glad you could come. I didn't even tell you about it. How'd you find out?" So, so we got Christy, we got Philip in the house. We got my brother Philip. Not really, bro. I can't wait till the remake of Spawn, though. Hey, Phil, Adam Turner says, "You are a star now, Shawnee boy. This is awesome." Philip, the brother. That's right. That's my brother Philip. He's my real bro. Hey, Philip, look what I'm wearing. Halloween 2. My brother Philip really likes Halloween too, and I think all my brothers like Halloween. How could you not? It's just an amazing franchise for Jordan. My brother, the doctor, the Burbs. Well, my brother's not actually a doctor. He's actually a teacher. It's a family affair, Christy says. Yep, seems that way. I really appreciate the support, guys. I gotta say, it's awesome. I'm having so much fun with you guys. I had such a great time last time, and I just want to say thank you so much for the support to all my subscribers and to anyone who's watching now, anyone who watched the last horror stream, and anyone who's watched any of my horror corner movie reviews. I really appreciate it. It's just something I started several years ago, and I just thought it would be a lot of fun, a fun hobby. I enjoy watching horror films and have my entire life. Phil can attest to that fact. Right, Phil? Can you teach Jordan about Chucky? Yeah, what do you guys think about the Child's Play franchise? I know Christy thought it's scary. She really thought the first Child's Play from 1988, I believe, was very scary. Yeah, I can teach Jordan about Chucky. I've seen all the movies. You had Child's Play 1, 2, 3. You had The Bride of Chucky. You had The Seed of Chucky. And then you had The Curse of Chucky. And now the last one that just had was The Cult of Chucky. I haven't seen that one yet, though. That's the only one I haven't seen yet. That messed up baby doll, Christy says, yeah. Adam Turner, we love you, Sean, brother. What do you think the mood and tone will be in the new movie? Colors and shades of the cinematography? I'm hoping for a similar style like Dean Cundey used in the original 1970 film, as well as the sequel, Halloween 2. I want to see that kind of visual storytelling. I want to see maybe some POV shots of Michael, seeing through Michael's eyes as he walks around. I think that would be really cool to reintroduce that aspect. The Panaglide camera. I really would love to see that again. That'd be awesome. Really get really get the view from Michael's eyes. Jordan loves Chucky so much. It's me, Jordan. Hello, Jordan. Nice to meet you. I haven't actually met you yet. Um, I am looking very forward to the wedding coming up this month, later this month. Congratulations, Phil and Julie. I'm so happy for you guys. It's just amazing, and I cannot wait to be there for the wedding and to be there with my entire family and your family. I want to meet your family, Julie and Jordan, of course. I'm looking forward to meeting you and hopefully seeing my niece Crystal again and seeing her son Logan. And I know I'm definitely going to see my sister Peggy. What's up, Jordan? Welcome. I just wanted I just wanted to be moody and melodramatic, cold blues and dark orange. Yeah, I gotta agree with that, Adam. Philip says thank you, love your video. Thank you, Jordan, and thank you, Philip. Woohoo! Celebrate so much. Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to celebrate, dance the night away. We're gonna have such a blast in New York. Philip says that Jordan's obsessed with Chucky, and thanks for the shout out, bro. Absolutely, love you, man. Yeah, I enjoy the Child's Play franchise definitely. Especially the first one. I thought the first one was awesome, uh, and it was pretty scary. Um, as a character, Chucky, I feel I kind of don't take it that seriously. I don't know why, but it seems like it could easily just dispatch of a living Chucky doll, or what was the name of him? The good guy doll? Yeah. I can't get that scared about a little 2 foot doll running around. But I do definitely enjoy it. I think it's fun. A lot of it is really funny too. Especially the like the Bride of Chucky when they brought Jennifer Tilly's character into it. I thought that was cool. How she became a doll as well, and they went on a crime spree together, like Bonnie and Clyde and shit. I like Child's Play 2. I don't. I was a long time ago that I saw Child's Play 2, Phil. I can't really remember that much of it. But a lot of people seem to think that's their favorite. It's very popular in the franchise. A very popular entry for sure. Child's Play 2. Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back. Spooky. I love Chucky. Bride of Chucky. Adam Turner says, I love Chucky. Bride of Chucky is just pure camp genius, definitely. I believe John Ritter was in that one, remember? The late John Ritter, the late great John Ritter was in Bride of Chucky, and I thought he did a really good job. Yeah, that one was so much fun. Of course, Curse of Chucky, yes. I haven't seen Curse of Chucky yet. I must say I'm kind of embarrassed. I know I gotta catch some catching up to do. You know what ones I enjoy that is kind of similar to the Child's Play franchises? Leprechaun. What do you guys think about the Leprechaun franchise? I thought those were funny as hell. You had Leprechaun in space. You had Leprechaun in the hood with iced tea and shit. Then there's Leprechaun Origins and Leprechaun when he goes to Las Vegas. Love Chucky, Bride Chucky, Pure Camp, Course of Chucky. Yep, definitely love the Child's Play franchise. Yeah, like I said, Leprechaun in the Hood. You know what I'm talking about, man. Hi, Christy. Phil says, we'll see you soon. It's going to be great. It sure is, man. I definitely look forward to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love the support. I appreciate it. Leprechaun in the hood, yo. Oh, I wanted to show you guys a couple cool things. I know last time I showed you the Elvira figure that I got shown up there, which was signed by Elvira. So I also wanted to show you this cool magazine that I got signed by the Mistress of the Dark herself, Elvira. Really cool, I thought. As I said, it was such a pleasure meeting Elvira. She was so incredibly witty and funny and beautiful, and I'm definitely a big fan. I thought it was so cool, and she was very gracious and so great with the fans. Just amazing person, and I hope she does another movie. You know, that would be cool. But I know she recently retired from doing the Not Scary Farm performances, the live shows. But she's not retired. She's still going to do conventions and stuff. So here is the granddaddy of them all, my picture with Elvira. Look at that. Me chilling with the Mistress of the Dark. Cool, huh? Yeah, I got that at the Boston Comic Con. So far, I've been going to the Comic Con in Boston for about the past 5 years or so with my couple of my buddies, and I really enjoy it. One year, I met Stan Lee. I got his autograph. Got a lot of autographs, like the guy who played the Punisher, Thomas Jane, in the Punisher movie from 2004. Sure is, cannot wait. You really do like Michael Myers. I certainly do, Philip. Philip says, no problem, Shawnee. You're doing a great job. Paul told me about this today at dinner. Oh, so how was you guys' Easter dinner? Did you have fun? Was Mark there? Paul was there. I hope you guys had a blast. And thanks, man. Christy says, glad you all got together. Happy Easter to you all. Happy Easter to you, brother. Happy Easter, Jordan and Julie. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Yeah, so back to the Elvira thing. That's cool, huh? I got to meet her. There's another lady I kind of invited to be here tonight who is a fellow YouTuber. Her name is Horror Gal. She's extremely into Elvira. She's got all kinds of merchandise on Elvira. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I try to keep involved in the horror community as much as possible. I follow a lot of other YouTubers, like Boogeyman Ben. Shout out to Boogeyman Ben. I'm friends with him. I follow him quite a bit. The Horror Gal, Horror Metal is a show that I watch a lot. Random Horror. He's a British guy. I like him a lot. Random Horror. Okay, Adam Turner says, Love Leprechaun 3 is my favorite. That's one where he goes to Las Vegas, right? Las Vegas, baby. Sucks that Warwick Davis isn't in the new one. Yeah, sorry that Warwick Davis is not in the new one. He played Leprechaun through most of the franchise. I thought he was hilarious. Me personally, I thought Leprechaun in space was my favorite. I just thought that was so funny. I love when he's in the bar and the leprechaun's in the bar getting tracked. He's like, I can handle me drink. And then he grows like freaking 10 foot tall and he's like running through the spaceship in outer space. It was so freaking funny. Michael Myers or Freddy, Philip says. Adam Turner says, I drink Elvira's bath water. She's so sexy. Well, Philip, I think you know the answer to that. I think you know that the answer is, of course, Michael freaking Myers over Freddy Krueger. I do love Freddy Krueger, though. I do love this badass boy right here, Freddy Krueger. I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy. Like that one, Phil? I think Phil's actually more of a Freddy fan. I'm not sure though. I do love the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Probably is my favorite. Definitely in my top five favorite horror films of all time. It's an amazing movie. I absolutely love the concept of it. That a madman can chase you in your dreams, and I can actually relate to that because we've all had those nightmares. Where the scary guy, the boogeyman, chases you around with an axe or a weapon or something, or scares the crap out of you and chases you down, and then once he catches up with you, you die, and then you wake up, and you're like, oh, and you're like sweating. That's why I can relate a lot to Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's such an excellent concept, and it was very well executed. And Christy says Godzilla is Philip's favorite, right? Yeah, that's true. Might being too filthy. Sean's not reading my comments out loud. I just did. Does Jordan like Godzilla? Christy says. Good question, Jordan. Are you a Godzilla fan, just like Philip is? I tell you, Philip is absolutely like frothing at the mouth for King Kong versus Godzilla, the ultimate monster confrontation. I'm really excited about that too. Um, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed the new King Kong movie, Kong Skull Island. I thought that was badass. Like, I love the visual effects and the monster battles, and the look of King Kong was just vicious and awesome. He was a real freaking badass monster, man. Uh, I love that he definitely seemed like he was much bigger than we've ever seen King Kong before. Like he was just massive. And the fight scenes was so awesome when he's fighting the monsters, or he's fighting the big snake and the big T-Rex, and there was a lot of action in the King Kong movie Skull Island, a lot more than the recent Godzilla movie. Christy says he's delayed. Come on, Sean, keep up. I like King Kong Skull Island. Yeah, so Philip likes King Kong Skull Island too. Me too. Jordan, give our love to Julie, Christy says. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm a little bit behind in the chat. I'm trying. Philip says, did you watch Planet of the Apes, Sean? From Jordan. Um, I watched I did watch the one with Philip, the War for the Planet of the Apes. I thought it was excellent. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the other two yet, but I plan on it. I do plan on doing that. The Rise of Planet of the Apes and the Dawn of Planet of the Apes. Me and Philip used to watch them back in the day on TV. Remember when they had the TV show and those old ass movies with Charlton Heston? Phillips Adam says, when will we have the first teaser for the new Halloween? It's going to be soon, though. I actually heard as soon as April 15th. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but that would be great. Only a couple weeks away. That'd be awesome. Freddy looked the best in part two. He looked really evil. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Freddy in part two was at his best in Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two: Freddy's Revenge. A lot. I think Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two gets a bad rap a lot because I guess there were a few scenes where it was like kind of homoerotic tones. Because the guy in who was the lead in the film was actually homosexual. He wasn't in the movie, but you could tell he was more feminine, which is fine. But I really enjoy the movie. I don't care what people say. I think there's a lot of really good scary scenes in that movie, like the beginning scene when they're on the bus, that nightmare scene, and Freddy. It shows up that Freddy's driving the bus and he's driving them down into the desert and shit, and the floor crumbles beneath them, and they're hanging on this cliff. And it's really scary. And then Freddy pops out with his glove and he's ready to slash the Jesse and a couple other teenage girls that are on the bus with him. I love that scene. I love several scenes, and then Freddy has some great lines in the film, like "You're all my children now." The fire is behind them. I love that scene when they're in the backyard doing when they're having the party, and the dude's grilling on the hot dogs. And I love that one scene when the guy's like, "Take it easy, man. Everything's gonna be all right, man. We're not gonna hurt you. We just want to help you." And then Freddy's like, "Help yourself." That's awesome. I love that part. And then when he jumps out of the ground and shit, awesome. There's some great scenes in Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two, Freddy's Revenge. I don't care. Phil, Philip says can't wait for the new Halloween from Jordan. Is it Jordan that can't wait for the new Halloween, or is it you, Philip? Yeah. So back to the whole King Kong Godzilla thing. It seems like they're making a whole new franchise on the old school monsters, Godzilla, and then because I heard in the next Godzilla film they're gonna have like um Ghidra, the three-headed monster, and they're gonna have I believe Rodan. I'm not quite sure though. I know definitely Ghidra, the three-headed monster, is going to be in the next Godzilla movie. I heard it's going to be a lot more action in the second film than there was in the first Godzilla movie. The one that had the dude from Breaking Bad. What is his name? I can't think of his name right now. But I did really enjoy it, but I wish I wanted to see a lot more Godzilla because when you did see Godzilla, it was real dark and it was raining, and you never really got a good look at him until the very end there when he had that triumphant. He's like, when you see him walking through the city right just before he jumps into the ocean and goes away again. You just get that one awesome scene where it's in the daylight and it's just Godzilla badass triumphant after he defeated the two badass monsters there. Yes, it is, Jordan. I love the Freddy vs. Jason movie. Yeah, I really enjoy Freddy vs. Jason too, man. That is, I think it's just so much fun. I love Freddy vs. Jason. I also love the Friday 13th franchise. I'm so high right now seeing double Adam Turner says, "What are you doing, man? Do I have to call the cops on you?" Having a dude scream cream was different in part two. Yeah, that's true. That is one of the things that people thought was kind of weird. Having a dude as like the final dude. Help yourself, fucker. Yeah, again, back to the Freddy vs. Jason. I thought it was done really well. I know for years Freddy vs. Jason was in like development hell for years. Ever since the last Friday 13th movie. Well, it wasn't the last one, but Jason Goes to Hell. That's when you saw the scene at the end where you saw Jason's mask in the dirt and then Freddy's glove comes out to grab it, you know. And then ever since then, it took a long time for them to get a story together, to get a director, to get a cast. It took a really long time. They were in development hell for Freddy vs. Jason. But it did finally come out in 2003, I believe it was. Director was Ronnie Yu, I believe. And the thing about Freddy vs. Jason is there was a lot of CGI, and that does kind of bother a lot of people. And there were some scenes that kind of bothered me, and that they were really kind of cheesy with the CGI because it was the early days of CGI. Um, and really, I don't really like CGI in horror films as much. I don't think it really belongs in a Freddy movie or a Jason movie. At least not that type of. Yeah, in a monster movie like King Kong, you want to see some badass special effects. But for Freddy versus Jason, you don't need that. But for the most part, it was awesome seeing these two icons of horror go at it, and it was absolutely thrilling at the end there when they finally clashed, and they really went at it, and it was such a blast. I love that. A lot of people also have issue with Kane Hodder not playing Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. It was Ken Kersinger this time. They didn't. I guess they didn't want. Uh, They didn't even bother trying to get Kane Hodder for the Freddy vs. Jason. And a lot of people get mad at that. But I thought Ken did an excellent job. But a lot of people are so set on Kane Hodder as being Jason because he played him in 4 films. He played him in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, the one where he fights the girl with the telekinesis powers, and then in Jason Goes to Hell, and then in also, oh, I forgot about Jason Takes Manhattan. And then, of course, Jason 10, Jason X, where he goes in space. That's why they kind of lost me on that one, I gotta be honest with you. Jason does not belong in space. It's like, what was it with horror at that time when they started doing movies in space? Like I said, Leprechaun in space, you had Hellraiser in space, Pinhead was in space, Friday the 13th in space. Why? Sean, do you like Scream? Yeah, definitely. I like Scream. I enjoy it a lot. Especially the first movie with I think that scene in Scream with Drew Barrymore was absolutely thrilling. I think that's one of the best scenes in horror. Was that scene with Drew Barrymore at the beginning when the guy calls her, harassing her, "Do you like scary movies?" And there's also some great, shout outs in Scream to other horror franchises like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. There's just all kinds of cookies and um, little fan service in Scream that I enjoy too. Like when he asks, "Who's the killer in Friday the 13th?" He's like, she's like, "It's Jason. I've seen that movie 100 times." Well, then you should know that Jason was not the killer. It was Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mother. And that's how he got her. I love that part. But yeah, and I love the guy, Jamie Kennedy, plays the wicked horror nerd. And he works at the video store, and he's always talking about the horror section. He's like, "Oh, what's that movie with E.T.'s mom? Oh, The Howling in aisle 2." Or if people would just watch Prime Night, they would save time. And they talks all about Jamie Lee Curtis. He's like totally in love with Jamie Lee Curtis. And even in the movie Scream, they're watching the original Halloween in that for a good part of the movie. And the dude Jamie Kennedy's like, "Watch out, Jamie's coming behind." I love the part when they say, "Why is Jamie Lee Curtis in all these movies?" And the girl's looking at all the DVDs, Prom Night and Terror Train and The Fog. All right, I got another question for you guys. Who is your favorite horror director? John Carpenter. You got so many legendary directors. John Carpenter, Toby Hooper, who did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You had Wes Craven, who did Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street. You got so many legendary directors in horror. Who is your favorite horror director, guys? My favorite, I gotta go with John Carpenter. You know, he had just a string of classics that has yet to be matched in horror history. Um, I mean, yeah, you had guys like Stanley Kubrick, but he only really did the one horror movie that could be considered a horror movie, and that is The Shining. But this is we're talking about horror directors now. You know, mine, Chucky. Yeah, so John Carpenter, he started off with Assault on Precinct 13. That's where he got a little bit of buzz, and then of course Halloween came out, and that just blew it out of the water. Then he went on to do Escape from New York. He went on to do The Fog. And then he did so many classics. Then he came back to the Right Halloween 2 along with Deborah Hill as the producer. And then he went and did movies like Christine and They Live, which a lot of people love, and Big Trouble in Little China. So many people love that too. Yeah, he just had a string of classics there. He had also The Prince of Darkness with Donald Pleasance there. A lot of people love that movie. So yeah, I think for me, it's John Carpenter. I think is the best horror director of all time, and certainly Wes Craven's got to be up there because he had The Last House on the Left. That was a great movie. He had The Hills Have Eyes. That was a great movie. With Dee Wallace as well. And then, of course, he went on to do Nightmare on Elm Street, which became a whole huge franchise, a massive moneymaker in horror history. And of course, then he then completely reinvented himself again with Scream. Um, and he did some other movies that I like too, like that you don't hear too much about, like Deadly Blessing, which is a great, like, old school kind of slasher film. And of course, Deadly Friend, was a lot, which is a lot of fun too. I really enjoyed that one. Some people think it's kind of cheesy and campy. With BB, the robot stuck in the girl's body, the young teenage girl's body, and he blows a fuse and starts killing everybody around. Bye bye, Sean. Thanks for answering my questions. Love your video. Bye, Jordan. Take it easy, Jordan. Thanks so much for joining us today in the horror corner. In the live horror stream part 2, the sequel, Shawnee's Revenge. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to do some homework, Jordan. I'm going to watch the last 2 Chucky movies, the Cult of Chucky and the Curse of Chucky. I'm gonna do some homework. I'm gonna watch those movies for you, and then maybe I'll come out with another video, a horror movie review, doing the Cult of Chucky and the Curse of Chucky. So I'm gonna do that for you, Jordan, because I haven't seen either one of those yet. I do look forward to watching them, though. I do enjoy the Child's Play franchise, definitely. So yeah, Wes Craven. You got, of course, you got Toby Hooper, who is just legendary. Um, he did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is one of the greatest horror films ever made. I'd probably say Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the scariest and most realistic horror film ever made. It's just terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And I also love Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I think it gets maligned a lot because they injected a lot more humor into it. But I absolutely love Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I love Bill Moseley's performance in it. It's so fun. It's just such a fun movie. I know a lot of people fun Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because there is a lot more humor. It's really, really dark humor in Texas Chainsaw 2, but it's really enjoyable. It's highly, highly entertaining. Which is the difference between which, what are they gonna do? Make the same movie? That's why I really enjoy part two, where they weren't just trying to do the same thing as they already did. There's plenty of homage paid to the original film in part two. Plenty enough homage paid, and of course, they're still directed by Tobe Hooper. There's plenty of nods to the original in Texas Chainsaw Part 2. Um, I know my wife, when she saw it, she got freaked out of the scene where Leatherface is holding up the person's face after he just uh, sawed off someone's face, and then he makes the girl stretch where the face of the guy. It's really sick. It is demented. There must be something wrong with me that I look at these movies. I gotta admit, there must be probably something wrong with me. Dad Mola says hi. What's up, man? Thank you for watching, Bob. My father-in-law there. Hope you guys are enjoying the horror corner tonight, the live horror stream. Gotta show up my Halloween shirt once again, of course. All right, another question I gotta ask you guys is, what's your favorite science fiction film? Yeah, we're going a little sci-fi now. Christy knows I'm a big fan of sci-fi. I love Star Trek and Star Wars and all that stuff. And I did a little. I've done several horror, sci-fi film reviews in my horror channel. I've done like some of the Star Wars movies, some of the Star Treks, and movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. What do you guys think of that movie? Of course, you had the original one from the 50s, and then you had the remake in 1978 with Donald Sutherland, which I thought was excellent. And also Leonard Nimoy was in that from Star Trek fame. And I thought that movie was just terrifying. I thought it was a lot better than the original. The original is great too. I'm not going to knock it. It was definitely, they introduced the concept of the pod people. These people that just have no emotion. Christy says for sci-fi, Twilight Zone, I believe she said. Yeah, I love Twilight Zone, especially the original TV series. Rod Serling is just a genius. Absolutely. I love all those classic shows. Definitely love Twilight Zone. It's my favorite science fiction, like, how do you say? It's definitely my favorite anthology series. That's the word I was looking for. Anthology series. There's a lot of anthology type series like that, like Tales from the Dark Side. That was a good one. You also had Tales from the Crypt. There's a lot of cool anthology type shows like that. But Twilight Zone is by far my favorite of those. As far as my favorite science fiction film would have to be Alien, the original Alien from 1979, starring the great Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley. I think that movie's so scary. Actually, it's a sci-fi horror movie, really, but it still works as a science fiction film too. There's plenty of spaceship stuff where they're out in space, and there's lots of sci-fi stuff in there, like the supercomputers on the ship and everything, and the ship itself. Um, and they go to another planet when because they get the SOS distress call, and it turns out they were faked out. It was actually these invading aliens that invaded this planet, and they were just trying to sucker them in so they can kill them or abduct them or whatever. It was just a trick by the alien. And we originally only see the one alien, one alien that gets loose from its egg, and then the face hugger comes up. How scary is that scene when the one astronaut looks at the egg and the egg opens up and the face hugger thing comes up? It's so scary. Alien is absolutely terrifying. I think and that's my personal favorite science fiction movie. If I had to pick one, what do you guys think? So next question I'm going to ask is Alien or Aliens? That's a highly debatable one there. A lot of people are divided on that. Alien from 1979 or the sequel from 1986? Um, Aliens is certainly one of the greatest sequels of all time. There's no question about it. Sigourney Weaver was actually nominated for an Oscar for the sequel Aliens, and her performance is absolutely fantastic. There's no question about it. You gotta love Sigourney Weaver. The character of Ellen Ripley is just amazing. Such a powerful woman, a powerful female character that you can really look up to. She's like a superhero almost. Much like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. You had pretty much she's a final girl as well, just like Jamie Lee Curtis is. Except I think Ellen Ripley is a lot more of a powerful character. She's extremely intelligent and extremely resourceful, and she's a badass. You're not gonna run over her. You're not gonna roll over her. you know. I don't care if you're an alien from outer space that shoots acid for blood and has a tongue that comes out of his mouth that has teeth on it. His tongue have teeth on it. Even that's not going to stop Ellen Ripley, the badass superhero of the spaceship Nostromo. And I love what they did with the Aliens film. They definitely upped the ante when it came to the action, and the special effects and everything was definitely amped up in the sequel Aliens. Um, but I do think that people kind of misstrew Aliens as being a non-stop action fest, but because it's not. It is kind of a slow build for like that first hour. You don't get any real hardcore action until about an hour into the film. But once it gets going, it's like, yeah, it really is intense, and the action is amped up tenfold, and from there on in, yeah, it's nonstop through action throughout. But that's the difference between Aliens and Alien from 1979, because Alien was much more of a science fiction horror film, where as Aliens was a sci-fi action film. That's the difference. Um, what's up? What's up, man? So, yeah. So, Alien, the sequel, Aliens, was actually excellent as well. But I prefer the original because I'm more of a horror guy, and when it comes to horror, Alien is just off the charts, absolutely thrilling. It's terrifying. And then another difference I think is the cast was much better overall. Everyone in the original Alien film was great. They were so into their roles, and they were so believable as a astronaut crew on the spaceship Nostromo. I think in Aliens there were a lot of like kind of like cookie cutter characters that you know weren't very engaging. You didn't really care too much about some of the characters in Aliens, and I think that's one of the main differences. Yeah, yeah, Ellen Ripley was awesome, no question. She was great, as she was great in the first one. But everyone was great in the first one. Everyone had a great performance in the original film. You had Tom Skerritt was great. You had the guy that played Ash, the science officer. He was great, and he was the main villain aside from the alien. I love how it turned out that he was actually an android the whole time. That just wanted to study the alien and take him back with them so they could learn from the alien and study it. And that was actually his mission. And his mission pretty much got the entire crew killed except for Ellen. And so yeah, that's some of the difference. That's why I like Alien better than the sequel Aliens from 1986, because Aliens, uh, the cast isn't as solid as I do like Bill Paxton's performance though. It was kind of crazy, a little bit campy, but it was a lot of fun, I gotta say. Some of the other characters in the film are just not memorable, but every character in the original film is memorable to me. So next up, guys, I want to talk about what do you think is better in a Halloween film? Adam Turner says I saw a Halloween porn the other day. It was hard watch though. Is it based on the Halloween franchise? Is it like Michael Myers porn or what the hell is that? Laurie Strode doing it with Michael or something. You guys amuse me. You guys are funny. I never would have thought of that being a good subject for a porn movie. Halloween, kind of weird. Yeah. So okay, guys, I was gonna ask. Oh goodness, Christy says, yeah. I don't know where you came up with that, man. I've seen some weird ones, but that is a weird one. Yeah, man, the mask and everything. Watch it on RedTube. Never heard of RedTube. Is that like the porn version of YouTube or something? Getting a little lewd now, guys. Yeah, so I was gonna pose a question. Do you guys prefer suspense in horror, or do you prefer like blood and gore, like the Friday 13th movies, or like something like Reanimator, or something like Hellraiser, where there's a lot of extreme blood and gore, or like some of the early 80s slasher films that were inspired by Halloween, like a film like Maniac or The Prowler or The Burning, where it was just all about blood and gore and the creative kills, or, obviously Friday 13th. A lot of it is about the creative kills. And then even the Halloween franchise became kind of like that at times. It had that real slasher element where it's like the creative kills. How's Michael gonna kill this person? How's he gonna kill this girl? Same thing with Friday 13th, and even some of the nightmares were like that at times. Adam Turner says, "I'm pure filth." I'd fit in well with the right Rob Zombie movie. Yeah, I think he probably would. How about the new? Ooh, great question, Christy. How about the new Amityville coming out? That is actually I think it's called the Amityville Murders, where it's actually about the true events of the Amityville horror, what happened in the house with the DeFeo family. Now, this is before George Lutz moved in after the events, where the family saw a bunch of ghosts and they got kind of driven out of the house. I'm talking about the DeFeo family, where the teenage boy was driven mad by the house, he claims anyway, that voices talked to him in his head and terrorized him and haunted him and made him kill his entire family with a shotgun. He went into each of their bedrooms at night when they sleep and blasted them in the back with a shotgun. That's the true events of the Amityville horror, and that's what I find interesting. And I would really enjoy seeing a movie based on that. They did get into it a little bit in the second Amityville film called Amityville 2: The Possession. It did start that way. It was kind of based on that family, the DeFeos, and but it kind of got out of the realm of that and ended up being like an exorcist type film where the kid gets possessed and they have to call in the priest and have perform an exorcism and shit, and then he goes to jail and it gets a little ridiculous. But at first, it is about that, about the true events. Zombie, Christy says. Adam Turner says Candyman is amazing. Any fans of Candyman? Yeah, I thought it was good. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan, but yeah, that's Clive Barker's creation. And Clive Barker created, of course, Hellraiser, which I am a big fan of the first two Hellraiser films. And yeah, I did enjoy the Candyman film. I thought it was pretty good. I'm not like a huge fan, but it's definitely solid. Answer me this, Adam. Did Clive Barker actually direct Candyman? I can't remember. The new Amityville looks cool. Adam says Exorcist 3 is my favorite. Really? Exorcist 3 is your favorite out of the whole? You think Exorcist 3 is better than the original? I have heard a lot of people say that, though. I don't think I've ever actually seen Exorcist 3. Yeah, bad horror fan. Bad horror fan. You never saw Exorcist 3. What's the matter with me? I'd say even to this day, I've seen so many horror films that I can just name off like hundred of them, but I haven't seen them all. I just haven't seen them all. There's too many. Sean, you can't remember? Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember Exorcist 3. I don't even think I've seen that one. Oh, I think she's talking about actually the comment I made about Clive Barker. Yeah. Clive Barker actually did direct a few movies. He directed the original Hellraiser. He directed he directed Lord of Illusions, and I think he directed the film Nightbreed. Adam Turner says not better than the first, but 3 is my favorite at the moment. It changes though. Number 1 is the holy grail in this house. Oh well. Yeah, the original Exorcist is absolutely amazing. You can't top that. I mean, what they did with Linda Blair and that makeup job, and it was so realistic and it was so freaking scary, and it still is to this day. Exorcist holds up. The original Exorcist still holds up really well to this day. And I still don't think there's been an Exorcist type movie that's gone anywhere near as good as the original Exorcist with Melinda Blair and Ellen Burstyn. And Christy says, "You're like a sponge for all this stuff." That's right, Christy. I soak in the information like a sponge and then I release it out to the world. Absolutely. Yeah, one of the things I loved about the original Exorcist is all the tests that they do on young Regan, Linda Blair's character, and how back then science was kind of archaic compared to today. They didn't have all the tools to be able to determine um, a person's illness like they do today. There's like these really archaic machines that they're like injecting these things into your body, and it just looked like she was going through hell in there, and they draining the blood from a body, sticking all these tubes in there, and having these things like doing like a brain scans and CAT scans and heart monitors, and they were hooking all this stuff up to her, and you could tell it was really uh, doing a number on her. Adam Turner says about the Clyde Barker. Somebody else directed Candyman, I think. I showed a friend Cannibal Holocaust. She was not amused at all. Yeah, what are you doing showing just some Cannibal Holocaust is a is I believe a true story, I think. But it's so brutal with the blood and gore. It's like this voodoo shit, like where they go to Africa. There's this like African tribe that captures these tourists, and they just perform all kinds of disgusting things on them and torture them and rape them and do all kinds of brutal things like stab them and take their intestines out and eat them. Yeah, they're cannibals, so they eat people. It was a really brutal movie, and it's hard to watch. I don't really like movies like that that are too close to home, you know, too over the top with the brutality and too realistic. Because it's not fun to watch. Adam Turner says he would impregnate Linda Blair today. She's a beautiful lady. Yeah, I agree. She's beautiful. Repossessed. Did you see that? Yes, I did see that with Leslie Nielsen and Linda Blair, where they kind of did a send off, a parody of the Exorcist type movies. It was funny. It's definitely you gotta love Leslie Nielsen. He was just hilarious in those movies because he plays comedy with such a straight face. You can't help but laugh. Yeah, comedy version of The Exorcist, exactly. Repossessed. You guys check that one out if you haven't seen it. Featuring Linda Blair and Leslie Nielsen. Linda Blair had a very interesting career, didn't she? She was kind of like the B movie queen for a while there. You know, after The Exorcist and then The Exorcist 2, she did a lot of like underground like B movies, like Savage Streets, and she did a couple women in prison type movies like Chained Heat and Red Heat, I think it was. And she did a lot of television work and but yeah, she was like the B movie queen for a while. Great actress though. She was up for an Oscar for The Exorcist, I believe. I think she should have won. I mean, she was just a kid then. She was only like 12 years old, given such a fantastic performance. I mean, she's put through absolute hell in that movie. Just the fact that she survived that and gave such a great performance. Ellen Burstyn was excellent as well, and of course Max von Sydow as the priest. Um, Great, Jason Miller as the priest, helping him with the rites, helping him along with the exorcism. And it's just so intense when they get into it. The power of Christ compels you, and they really get into it. And so does the viewer. They really suck you in with the whole exorcism scene when she starts to levitate once they start saying the passages from the Bible and they start throwing the holy water at her and it like melts her skin and she gets like cuts in her body and oh man, such an intense movie, The Exorcist. You gotta love it. Adam Turner says you gotta love the women in prison movies. Yeah, very very funny. They did so many of those movies, huh? I gotta say, the most messed up movie I ever saw of like that women in prison era was the Ilsa, the she wolf of the SS. She was like this Nazi girl chick that had a ran a prison camp. I think it was actually like it was a Nazi camp, and she like brutally tortured people. It's such a messed up movie. It's all kinds of torture, and it's kind of crazy. It's too much, it's over the top. And I was gonna ask another question. What is this movie called? The Terrifier. It's like this crazy, creepy clown guy. I noticed there's a lot of buzz about that movie. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Like it's really, really scary. And there's this creepy, clown like Pennywise. I heard he puts Pennywise to shame. Adam Turner says Three from Hell has some great casting lately. Yeah, I saw that Dee Wallace is going to be in it, which is really awesome. I love Dee Wallace. She was in The Howling, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. She's in The Hills Have Eyes. She was in E.T. So many great roles for Dee Wallace. Oh, awesome, awesome actress. And yeah, I am looking forward to it. I think out of all Rob Zombie's films, The Devil's Rejects has to be the best, the closest to a good, solid horror film that he has made, in my opinion. And I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan at all. I'll be honest with you. And I know Christy loves the his remake of Halloween, and I thought it was pretty good as well. But a lot of his other movies, I just haven't been truly impressed. But the closest to being impressed by his horror work was The Devil's Rejects. I thought it was pretty solid. And they had a great cast with Bill Moseley there and Sid Haig, and of course Sherry Moon Zombie, who's in all Rob Zombie's films. His wife. But I really didn't like, what was it, The Lords of Salem. I was like bored to death. I couldn't stand that one. And The House of a Thousand Corpses had its moments, but I think overall it wasn't that great. It did have some good scenes though. And do I need to mention how his version of Halloween 2? I don't like that one at all. And you see, that pretty much killed the franchise. After Halloween 2, it was dead in the water. His version of Halloween 2. But I am kind of looking forward to the Three from Hell. I'll definitely check it out. I love Bill Moseley though. He was great in that role, as well as the guy that played the sheriff. Can't remember his name. William something. He was really good in that movie, Devil's Rejects. He was a really he was almost like Dr. Loomis in a way, but even much more crazy. He was so crazy that he almost got to their level, the level of the killers, where he had the mom in captivity. He did catch the mother firefly, and he chained her up to the wall, and he like was tormenting her. And he actually murders her. He goes so far that he has so much hatred for these killers that he wants to catch them all so badly that he actually murders the mother. I was like, wow, they really went there. Huh? William Forsythe, thank you, Adam. Yeah, William Forsythe was excellent in that movie. He's also in the Halloween remake too. Remember that guy Ronnie, Uncle Ron? That guy was like the biggest asshole ever. Doesn't matter, you jealous of your own daughter's ass. Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy, Adam Turner said. Yes, I am interested in seeing that. I think he'd be the perfect guy for that role. Um, Zac Efron, and yeah, he brings the star power. That is an interesting story. Ted Bundy, they had one of the most notorious serial killers of all time. He had quite the body count, bashing the heads in of young girls, college girls, and in his little Volkswagen. Definitely one of the most vicious, brutal killers of all time, Ted Bundy. And yeah, that's how he lured young women in because he was a handsome guy and he was very charismatic and he was very highly intelligent as well. I always thought it was so crazy how he worked as a suicide hotline operator. Ted Bundy, the mass murderer, worked as a suicide hotline operator. This guy is telling people not. This guy is the guy on the line trying to get people not to kill themselves, and he's out there murdering girls on the street. I just thought that was like really messed up. Adam Turner says it will be set in Mexico this time. The hype for Three from Hell took over Halloween for me. Waited 12 years, not joking at all. No, good for you. You can't, not me, bro. I can't agree with that because I am a Halloween nut. I'm all about Halloween, so you better believe I am psyched out of my mind for that. Nothing tops that for me. Like not even Avengers. Like I'm really psyched. I've been really psyched for the Avengers for a long time, but Halloween just trumps it. And plus, Avengers comes out this month. I don't have to wait too long. What's going on in the chat, guys? Adam Turner says I am psyched for Halloween though, big time. Oh yeah, getting back to the Ted Bundy thing, I think Zac Efron is the perfect guy to play Ted Bundy because he looks like him. He is a very handsome young guy. He's very charismatic. He's very intelligent. So I think he's the perfect guy to play Ted Bundy. And he is a real good actor. He's shown a lot of depth in his role. He's done a lot of different type of roles, a lot of comedies, dramas, just weird, out there kind of movies. He's shown a lot of chops and a lot of different things. So, and I think will be really good for his career too. He's shown he's got the acting chops to handle that kind of character, that kind of role. Yeah, I know he started with the High School Musical and crap. He was the Hollywood heartthrob for a long time, but now he's a serious actor, and I think he would be great in that type of role. I am interested to see that Ted Bundy movie. Ted Bundy was a sick puppy, Adam Turner says. Can't wait for Zach to ruin his career. Raping dead bodies on the screen. I don't think it's going to ruin his career. I'm kidding. He will do well, man. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to do a great job. I think it's going to be an interesting movie. So I got another one for you guys. What is your favorite Stephen King adaptation? I know we just had It recently released in 2017, which I thought was excellent. A lot of people enjoyed It. I thought that was a really good movie. Yeah, it was a remake from the 1990 TV miniseries, but so back then they didn't have like the production value of the theatrical film. That's why in this case I'm not a big fan of remakes at all. But in this case, I felt it was warranted because you want to see something like that on the big screen. You want to see Pennywise and all his crazy antics on the big screen. Something of that magnitude, I think, works better. And I think they did an excellent job with it. The characters were so well written, fully fleshed out, and each character had a great background on them, and they were portrayed so well by the young actors. And I think that's what really makes the movie, the camaraderie between the young kids. And I also can relate to the film because that's just what I was like when I was a kid, a nerdy kid, just messing around, running around town, doing things you're not supposed to, going places you're not supposed to, and just being a kind of a punk, but not kind of breaking any big laws, just kind of having funs with your friends, doing getting caught up in silly shit. Ted was a narco, just facts from Thinner for me and Christine. You like the Thinner movie, huh? Christine was great, and again, that was directed by John Carpenter. It rules. Yes, it does. I also thought there was a real couple really good ones on Netflix, like Gerald's Game, and I thought that was really good. I was like, wow, this could have been a big hit if they released it in the movie theater. Christy says Dad likes Christine. Yeah, we're gonna have to watch that sometime. Movie night, folks. We're gonna watch Christine. I haven't seen that in years, actually, so I would like to watch it again. Adam Turner says, mine too, Christy. Tommy Knockers and Needful Things. Yeah, those are pretty good. Be cool to see the two of you together. Duo power. What about it, Christy? Maybe someday we'll do a video together. That would be great. Ooh, Christy said mine, The Shining. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's mine too, Christy. That is my favorite Stephen King adaptation. The Shining is awesome. It's so scary, so moody. And I love the fact that they're in a hotel, the Overlook Hotel, and it's so huge, so massive and you still get that claustrophobic feeling like you're closed in this place because you got the vicious snow outside. They're buried in like 4 feet of snow outside, so there's really nowhere they can go. And you really feel that in the movie. Like there's nowhere for them to go. You're buried in snow, and they're caught in this hotel alone with this guy who's losing his freaking mind. Christy said, "Sometime I am poop though." Yeah, I'm getting a little tired myself, but I'm having a blast with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in the horror corner tonight. Thank you so much for the support. Adam and Christy and Phil and everybody that's joined us tonight and everybody that joined us last time. Yeah, so I want to talk a little more about The Shining. I thought Jack Nicholson's performance was just awesome. What a memorable character. Adam Turner says, right, guys, it's 11:30 here in Wells. I got to get my head down. Love you, dudes. I'll see you later. Stay metal. You bet, man. Metal rules. Huge heavy metal fan. My pleasure, brother, Adam says. Cazalis, I'm at your doorstep. Hello, say hi to my friend who has Negron syndrome. Hello. Sweet dreams, Christy. Oh, we got Cazalis joining us. And we got Kagonak 676 joining us. Welcome to the Horror Corner live horror stream #2, a sequel. Rammstein. Ooh, Christy likes Rammstein. Du hast me. My idea for a movie is where mannequins come alive and kill humans. Cazalis says. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. I don't think I've seen something like that yet. That would be a cool idea for a movie. Oh, I'm back. Jordan's back. He's back again. Jordan's back. Welcome, Jordan, to the show, to the horror stream. Thank you for joining me in the horror corner, Jordan. Oh yeah, back to what Cazalis said. That would be interesting, huh? I always love that Twilight Zone episode. Remember where the girl is mess goes to the top floor, and like it's the floor that nobody knows about, and she runs into these mannequins, and then you find out that all along she is a mannequin. And I always thought that would be cool for a horror film. But I just love that she got at all the mannequins get a little bit of time out in the world as a human being, and but they have to be back at a certain time so somebody else can go out. But I love how they did that. How we just thought she was a regular person losing her mind, going to this secret floor in the department store that nobody seems to know about, and they only sell one thing, that ring that she was looking for. One of my favorite episodes of Twilight Zone. Yeah, definitely like Rammstein, a pretty cool band. That German freaks. Big Slayer fan, and I'm very sad and upset that Slayer is retiring. My favorite heavy metal band, in my opinion, the greatest metal band of all time. Big fan of the big four of thrash metal, as well as Exodus. But yeah, the big four of thrash, that's my bands right there. Megadeth, Anthrax, Metallica, of course, the old school stuff, and Slayer, the legendary mighty Slayer. Getting back to the Stephen King adaptions, I definitely love Carrie, and that's one of the best Stephen King's adaptation. Carrie with Sissy Spacek. What do you guys think of that one? Absolutely awesome at the end when they pour the pig's blood on her and she loses and uses all her full powers, and she just goes off and kills everybody in the damn room. And how scary is that at the end when the nice music is playing, and then the girl looks at Carrie's grave, and then her hand comes up from the stones out of the grave. That last jump scare, that's awesome. Christy says, yeah, Carrie is a great one. Yeah, I agree. Totally. Not a lot of people remember there was a Carrie 2, The Rage. Remember that one? The girl had like tattoos on her, and the tattoos came to life and shit. It was a very similar. It was pretty much the same exact story. The girl was in high school and got picked on by the bullies, and she had the telekinetic powers, and they played a mean prank on her. And at the end, she uses all her powers to kill everybody in the whole room. And there's been like two remakes on of Carrie actually. One was a TV version, and then they just did one recently with Chloe Grace Moretz played Carrie, and I forget who played the wicked mother, the overly religious nutcase mother. Oh, it was Julianne Moore played her. That's right. And I think it was Piper Laurie that played the crazy mom in the original one. That lady was just nuts, man. She was so over the top with the religious stuff, you know. And that was sick how Carrie got really pissed off at her, and she finally let it out. and she threw a bunch of knives with her telekinetic powers, and the knives went pinned her to the door, and she had one aiming right at her head. That was pretty sick. And he always like, you're gonna burn in hell and stuff, you know. She was crazy. And what other great Stephen Kings were there? I love Salem's Lot. How about that one? I really enjoyed that one. The vampire film of Stephen King. That was actually a TV miniseries too, which was directed by the great Toby Hooper, who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I actually love that movie. I think that's the scariest TV movie ever made, is Salem's Lot. How about that vampire? That guy was sick. Obviously, it was influenced by Nosferatu, the original vampire film. Um, Count Orlok. But he was really sick when he had blue skin, bald, those two middle sharp teeth that were just like the Nosferatu character. And I love the David Soul was great in the movie. David Soul, who was in Starsky and Hutch and all that. And there was just some really cool vampire stuff, and like with the little kid was a vampire. And I love that scene when he's outside the glass trying to call that kid his friend. After he died, he went to his friend's window and was like knocking on the glass and like scratching on it slowly, and he's like floating in the air. That is pretty freaking scary. Christy Erschen said Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, interesting choice. Yeah, that's right. That was Stephen King. Shawshank Redemption was excellent film. Good call on that one, Christy. Yeah, with Tim Robbins, that was a great movie. And Morgan Freeman, of course, the great Morgan Freeman. That was a great story. And you wonder whether Tim Robbins' character actually did committed the murder, if he was framed. It certainly seemed like he was, but you're never quite sure, did he do it or not. Um, but yeah, basically you go through the whole time believing that he's innocent, and all this horrible stuff happens to him when he's in jail. He's harassed by the bullies, and he gets beat up and raped and all kinds of crazy stuff. But he's an extreme. I like that he's an extremely intelligent guy, and he does all these different things to elevate his status in the jail. Like he gets a whole library created, and he does the warden's taxes and stuff. So he makes a pretty good living in the jail there. Yeah, the war. After a while, the warden starts taking a liking to him. He realizes that he's such a brilliant guy, and we got to take advantage of him. Do and he ends up getting the warden into some crooked stuff with the taxes, you know. And of course, you had that one security guard who was like a real badass, you know, beat the shit out of dudes, you know. He was a real villain. I love, and Morgan Freeman's character is great. I love how they connect, you know, and how he teaches Tim Robbins the ropes of how to survive in jail, you know, because he's been there for his entire life. Morgan Freeman's character, so he knows the ropes, he knows the highways, of how to survive in jail. And I also thought it was similar to the movie with Clint Eastwood when he's in Escape from Alcatraz, in the way that he escapes in the movie. He uses the rock pick thing, and he's got the poster there covering it up of like Marilyn Monroe or whatever. And then when you take the poster away, you can see that he's planning his escape by picking at the rocks at the wall, the bricks in the wall, and making a whole hole to get his escape plan together. Misery was tough to watch at times. Yeah, Misery is definitely up there as one of the best Stephen King adaptations. I think it's great. Yeah, there's that one scene though. It is hard to watch when the part where she ties the guy's legs up and uses the sledgehammer. Oh, and you see his leg freaking, you see his foot freaking completely disemboweled. And Kathy Bates, what a great performance! Is so memorable as the Paul Sheldon's number. I'm your number one fan. Where's the knife? I'm your number one fan. You knew she was wacko right from the beginning, though. As soon as he wakes up after his car crashes in the snow and flips about 50 times, and he's completely stuck, and like she drags him out of the snow and brings him back to her house. And we find out that she's a nurse. And as the movie goes along, we start finding out some shady dealings with Annie. But she's more than just an obsessed fan of Paul Sheldon's novels. It's interesting that Stephen King did the movie about a writer when he is the writer. Wow, Phil said. A great performance by James Caan as well. I also like the story of the sheriff, the old man. He's slowly gathering information as the movie goes along, and he's starting to close in on her. He's starting to finally realize that it's Annie that's the problem, and he starts to figure it out that Paul Sheldon is missing and where he is, and that he's in the hands of a freaking lunatic, Annie. Okay, guys, we're getting close to 9 o'clock, so we're gonna wrap it up soon here. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for joining me on the live horror stream. This was so much fun. And guys, hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'm gonna keep doing videos in the horror corner for now into infinity and beyond. Thank you guys so much for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the horror corner. Tune in and stay scared. Thanks, guys.